this every time. I think I'm ready and then I'm not.
We can do it. We're black.
Oh, thank you for chucking me in. All right.
Welcome.
Looking at the camera. We ready? Great. Hello.
Today? I don't say that much. G'day, mate.
All right, we're on. Welcome to episode 7 of Hook, Riff and Banger.
Yeah.
The podcast.
The podcast.
You're here with Jess.
And Dan.
Today we're talking to Tim and Lachlan from Black Aleph. Welcome.
How's it going? Thanks.
G'day.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what instrument you play in the band?
Yeah, my name's Lachlan. Play guitar. Play 2 guitar amps, a bunch of effects, and a 6-string Strat.
I'm Tim. I play the DAF, which is the frame drum that gets a lot of attention, and some effects and sitar on the album, but awesome. Mainly DAF, mainly percussion. Yeah, it's my job.
Definitely want to talk about that instrument a little later on. But how did you guys meet up and form the project, the band?
Yeah. So backstory. So I played. For like 10 years, the last 10 years, just mainly Middle Eastern music, and Lachlan was getting into that stuff back in, I guess, what it was like mid 2016, 17, something like that. So we met through a mutual friend, and it was kind of like as I was wrapping up playing that stuff seriously, Lachlan was kind of getting into that world, and I was maybe getting back to my kind of metal roots or something like this, right? So around, I guess, 2018, we decided to try playing together, and at that time my partner was organising this thing, Art Bar in Sydney, for an event that was happening there at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Sydney. So she asked me to put something together for part of a performance. Lachlan was already in Sydney, I was here, so I thought this is a good opportunity to start playing. So our first gig was like on the top of MCA, which if anyone's been there is like overlooking the harbour, Sydney Harbour Bridge and everything. So it was a pretty sick first gig. Wow. We kind of did an improv thing where I was playing percussion and some Iranian string instruments. Lachlan was playing guitar. I think a couple of the tracks that the tunes that we played then kind of stuck on the album. But then, yeah, there's a big kind of gap in the middle because of everything that happened around 2020. I think we started recording some stuff in 2020, right at the beginning, and then I remember there was like bushfires and everything happening, and that was kind of the end of it for a little while. And then we got back into it shortly after.
Yeah, we managed to fail recording this album about 2 times before we finally worked out how to do it and pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. We did it in a studio, in a rehearsal studio, right? And then a couple of proper attempts.
Yeah. What is failing to record an album look like? Third time lucky too, right?
I think our ideas of what the sound was going to be, I had some preconceptions that we were going to go more into this Eastern acoustic direction. Like I play an Afghan instrument as well, and I really wanted to play more of that. And then I also really wanted to keep it improvised because I hadn't really played in bands that allow for a lot of improvisation. But I think the core of what we were performing was, when Tim and I just play together, it's so easy and so natural for us to just connect, and we've got a bunch of songs that are kind of just written on the spot or written last minute before we recorded. So I think working out where the barriers are, how much of it should be pre-written, how much is improvised, what does it actually sound like, that all took us quite a while. And living in different cities, it was pretty hard for us to get like consistent time together as well.
So in the recording process, are they like live recordings or the initial maybe demos of songs, or how does that work?
How did we record them in the end?
I don't remember. I think, we tried live.
Yeah.
I think the core of it is live stuff, but I play a lot of loops, and so the question was like, okay, so what I would normally do is I would play something and loop it and then play over the top of it, but that isn't really ideal for a recording. So even that challenge, like how do we, accomplish that? And so I think what we ended up doing was, instead of just looping a piece, I would just keep playing the rhythm, I don't know, X amount of times, and then later I'd add another layer, and maybe the cellist would come in, and in post-production we'd have to work out how we wanted to like cut things together. So yeah, it took a while for it to take this kind of final form. And I think it took a while for us to kind of maybe let go of what we originally thought we were doing and just let whatever was happening happen.
Yeah, that's true. It used to be a lot more kind of improvised and even, semi-acoustic, I guess. But I was really trying to push some of the heavier stuff, which that probably explains why it took a while to record as well, because I mean that instrument, the DAF, isn't usually used in this music, obviously. So I'm trying to figure out how to record it. There's a lot of experimentation even in the studio, I think.
How heavy and how loud can we really be?
Yeah.
I think we finally worked that out. Like some of his pedals, you can have this huge sound with that small frame drum.
Yeah,
it took us a while to, all these little logistical questions were hard.
Yeah, cool.
Can each of you name one of your favourite local bands?
This is easy for me. Convulsing put out a record this year, which I just fucking love it so much. It's Brendan's someone I've known for a long time, and I find him really inspiring as a musician and guitarist, but also producer. So I've been spitting that quite regularly.
Cool.
Yeah, favorite. Like, I mean, I've mentioned some of the bands we've been playing with lately. Like, I mean, Bentham's Head, really into. We played with them a couple of times recently, right? Or just at their launch. Really like their shows and a lot of the kind of concept stuff too.
Yeah. Similar question. Are there any local acts, local bands in this, maybe Sydney or Melbourne, from your perspectives that you miss? You wish were around still.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and say 2.
Yeah.
There's a band Spacebong. Do you guys know Spacebong?
Yeah.
I fucking love Spacebong. They were like one of my favorite bands, and they're around. I played with them and toured with them a lot. I really just miss that. Ghost Smoke could kind of bring back some of that kind of feeling to me. But just very drony, hypnotic music. And also 5 Star Prison Cell, who just like really crazy rhythms and chaotic metal. I miss both those bands.
Yeah. I'd say Damaged, if it's just too old a reference.
That's
For the
good.
kids. Yeah.
Everyone
Damaged
go
for
look
sure.
up Damaged.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Brisbane, so a lot of the bands I kind of miss are from up there.
Yeah.
God Knows and kind of stuff that was around the early 2000s. Yeah. Probably too many others to mention.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot of bands we miss.
Yeah.
That's true. We do like to plug them where we can and, hopefully wish them back somehow.
Yeah, actually, in that case, I'm going to mention something. So, in
for
Brisbane,
it.
now that I'm thinking about
Unload.
Nice.
I was thinking on the way down here because my mate Michael Brackenridge, who actually lives around here, I played with him in a bunch of bands in Brisbane, but he played in a band called Brain Resin, which is it's like this tragic thing that they are not still playing because they're such a good band. And I think they recorded the last album in like 2005 or something, and it came out only in 2012 or something like this. I don't know. So he's still around here, he's still doing his thing, but not gigging a lot. So I'd say Brain Resin and all of his acts.
Nice.
Castration Party and
This is such good band names.
yeah. Probably.
This is the part of the pod where we encourage people to dig through the archives.
Yeah. That's
We'll make a
definitely-
list for the end of the year.
I mean, some of that stuff, I was like God Knows too. I was looking for that stuff recently. It's not even on streaming platforms, so it's like there's a whole other world out there.
Yeah, that's fair. I like how you had a think about it, like for a split second. You had some more answers.
Yeah, they all go.
We had a little episode where we all answered this same question. It took me weeks to think of my real answer. And it's way
Yeah,
too
of
late.
course. Yeah, it comes. Yeah.
We might have to revisit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah.
Driving home.
It'll be a
and going,
worksheet that's constantly going.
Yeah. Totally.
Nice.
Now, you've moved from Sydney to be in Melbourne, and you grew up in Brisbane.
Yeah, I was born here, moved to Brisbane, came back 10 years ago or something. Yeah.
Why did you make the move to Melbourne, and how do you find it differs from Sydney?
Yeah, really, I was after a bit of a change, but Tim and I had been jamming on and off for many years, and then COVID happened, so we couldn't really play together for quite a while. So the opportunity came up. I'd always loved Melbourne. I'm down here like 2, 3, 4 times a year for gigs, so why not? And I feel like with Art As Catharsis, it's kind of like maybe a city I haven't cracked that well as well. And it differs in pretty key ways. I think there are so many more venues, particularly small venues. Like, going to these like little experimental jazz spaces that have like 40 people, sound excellent. No one seems to care if there's only 3 people in there. Like, I just think there's so much more happening, and that creates a lot more space for more experimental, innovative music. In Sydney, it's really tough to have a decent venue with 100 people, 300 people. But Melbourne, you're just spoiled for choice, and that just means the scene flourishes. So I've loved going and seeing all these different styles of music here, like all over the city. And it's not just clustered in one area like it is in Sydney either. It's So it's been extremely inspiring, and yeah, starting to see some cool opportunities come from being down here as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite venues? You mentioned there's a few unique ones here.
Favorite venues.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Northcote Social Club. We were so lucky to play that earlier this year. That was just mind blowing. I don't know how we got that gig. I think maybe they wanted my old band Hashashin, but we're not. That kind of wound up a bit last year on a bit of a hiatus. So yeah, we got the slot. Any other
Social's
cool?
really good, yeah.
Any other faves?
I mean, of that side, I mean, Bar Open's really fun. It's kind of, I don't know what it is about that space. It's always, yeah, it's just fun. It's really kind of closed in, dark feeling as well. It just concentrates energy really nicely.
I like that Eastman exists in Northcote.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like a
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like warehouse kind of vibe. Like really interesting bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Even just High Note on High Street. Like that's just tiny little very cool space.
Yeah, I mean, to play or to attend, I mean, like the tote, but I mean,
Can't not say the tote, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, where have we played recently? I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean, Shot Kickers is fucking
Shot Kickers
cool.
is fun,
Yeah.
Really good sound.
And I met Chris, and I just love the ethos behind the space, and he's working with one of the bands on my label, Total Skull, and I just have a lot of respect for how they're running it. I love their kind of big play at the moment to kind of expand it, and I think if they expand it, that's going to be a really special place in Melbourne and in Australia as well.
Yeah, that is a fantastic venue. It sounds great no matter how many people are in it.
Yeah, it's really good sound.
And it must be a really good place to play.
Yeah, that was fun. Definitely.
I want to talk about Northcote Social because that's the first time I saw you guys. It was opening for Soul Dusk.
Yeah.
And I remember that really vividly. I remember having troubles with my ticket at the door, so I was maybe a couple of minutes late. Sorry, guys, to your set. But I remember that experience so well. It was so unique, so cool. I remember walking in a few minutes late, and everyone. It was really weird for like a metal show, and that's a different conversation that we'll touch on shortly. People weren't moving much, but they were like kind of entranced by your music. It was really cool. It was really cathartic. It was oddly spiritual. The crowd was moving, really captured it. It was such a cool thing, really unique experience. So I want to ask, how does your music work? How does it fit into this metal scene? It seems to work, but it's also its own thing. Can you speak on that? Do you have a similar view?
I think we've always wondered where we do fit in.
Yeah.
And, I know the Sydney scene really well, and I put on shows there really regularly and kind of try and create the scene that I want to see. But, the layout of the scene in Melbourne is very different. And so I think we thought, let's try this kind of more arty metal space and just see. But the community has just welcomed us with open arms and, has been really receptive. I'm not sure that would be the case for other cities. Cool. And we're still interested in playing in different spaces, different scenes, and just seeing what works. But I think we got lucky with the Melbourne metal crowd. They've just been incredible. Every show we've played in Melbourne, 3 shows this year. They've just been awesome. And I haven't really been playing in the metal scene that much for probably 8 years or 10 years. I've played a lot of other stuff, but it's been nice to kind of reconnect with the scene and be like, not only do I really respect the bands I'm playing with and love the music, but the people are just so welcoming and easygoing and cool. So yeah, it's been really nice.
I'm glad that's been the reception. That's why we do what we do with this podcast. We feel that as well, and we definitely love what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much happening here. I mean, I didn't really play metal here either. I mean, I've attended a bunch of gigs, but yeah, it's been so welcoming. And the music is a bit, I think at first odd. People it takes a tune or two before they go, okay, no, I can get into this. So by the end, it's kind of fairly rocking. I think that last, I mean, it's a nice ending with that track that we end on because it kind of, it's a bit kind of a sort of headbanger type tune. So I think by the end we've converted people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melbourne's pretty classic for the mixed bills,
the
mixed lineups,
cool.
which I really appreciate, which is how I stumbled across you for the first time. I think it must have been that same Northcote Social Club gig where I just got the right targeted ad and I was like, what is this? I'm hypnotised, I'm in. How did you develop the sound that you have, I guess, falling into those heavier lineups?
Yeah.
How did you create the sound that you have?
You want to talk to it? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, in the pandemic, I couldn't really jam with anyone. So I bought some nice guitar gear. Like I bought a 15-inch cab. I was playing around with that a bit and just started trying to develop that guitar sound where, okay, how do I make the guitar interesting enough that you actually can deal with like listening to it and focusing on it as a solo instrument. Yep. I was doing a bunch of solo gigs and I actually started performing with a cellist in Sydney, like kind of doing earthy drone improvised stuff, and he would play with me. And a few years later he ended up joining Black Aleph with us as well, Peter Hollow. So I think my guitar sound was the result of having a lot of time on my hands at home and a lot of fun gear and just, making the most of that opportunity. And then, how it all fits together has just taken ages. I don't really understand how, other than the first time we sat in a rehearsal room together and Tim just started playing something and I just started playing something and then we'd managed to move that to somewhere else. And like every time I was going to change or loop something, he seemed to anticipate it. I was like, what the hell is this? Yeah. So we're writing a song in real time and it's just a bunch of these songs have just happened like immediately. No thinking about style. Like, I've been in doom bands and grind bands and other proggy bands, other things. There's something about, maybe because you don't play a drum kit and we don't have a bassist, it's just, we don't think about any of that. It just kind of comes out.
Yeah, it's probably a process of like simplification too, because I think when we started, like I was playing 4 or 5 instruments and sort of juggling them and it was just getting a bit silly. And I was like, I just want to take one instrument to a gig and I'll take the drum. It's the easiest one. So I think that kind of forced us to play the more kind of riffy type stuff rather than the more improvised stuff. And then I was pushing that more as well because I just found it so much fun to be playing this kind of stuff again. I probably had to convince him that the kind of metal stuff should be the focus.
I thought this was my non-metal project.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm exiting the metal scene. I'm going to go do some like mystical Eastern stuff.
That's my fault.
It turns out like, no, I feel like I'm kind of back to not only the stuff I was playing before, but all the way back to the start of my love of metal and simple riffs. And
it's pretty simple.
It's great.
And he's always like, he writes like really complex kind of sort of mathy type stuff. And I'm trying to like just bring it back to the most simple.
I've had to accept a meathead just really and it's been awesome.
It's fun, it's good fun.
It's freeing. It's really freeing the way we've managed to find a sound that, we don't have to worry about any style.
Yeah, really. The album's still got all that improv stuff, or some of it anyway, right?
It's still improvisation.
Between some of the hits.
And we had to convince our cellist to use a bass amp, but once Peter did, it's just like had the volume and the body of the cello through like an octave down and like a fuzz or something. It's like, this is what we've been missing.
Yeah, it feels fun. Awesome. Like there's so much bass in the room and when we play, it's really nice.
It's amazing. Seems like it's been a journey, a really good journey.
Yes.
And now you have your album that's out. You're on the other side of that now. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. What's been the experience there? How are you feeling about it?
It's always weird with a new project. We don't really understand what the music is, especially till you record it and then you mix it and you master it and you're like, I kind of get what we're doing now. And then it was not really clear how we did fit into these scenes. So I think so far we've been blown away. We co-released the album with a label in Belgium, Dunk Records, and we're going over to Portals Festival in the UK next year. There are just all these opportunities that are just kind of appearing before us, which is excellent. We spent this morning packing all of the records that everyone has so kindly purchased. There's a lot of records to pack, which is a good problem to have.
True,
That is a good problem.
I realized the first time I saw it too, I realized I hadn't. That's the thing. I mean, the experience has been a bit odd because some of it was recorded so long ago and sort of forgotten how it sounded, and then mixing and mastering happened much later. I think some of the tracks, like the very last track, we sort of figured it out on the day of the recording for that. So it's only like a real thing for me now in some sense. As I'm sitting there packing this vinyl, listening to it again, it feels like it's in the past, but it's having a second life now.
Yeah, we're looking forward to kind of presenting these shows on tour, but we want to really write new stuff, and we've been starting to work on some new material kind of seriously. So we want to explore that. I think we're pretty eager.
New stuff.
Will that take a different form, do you feel? Like you seem to have had a relationship with the three of you guys for years now. You've experienced, recording this album, learning a lot. How do you feel this process will be in the future?
I think we want to open up ways of writing. Like, there's some stuff that I kind of fiddled around with at home and brought to the band. There's some stuff that's just been, we've connected on something and it's just come out. Like the song Procession, I think we were setting up in our first recording session for this album, and we had to like just sound test, and we just started playing something, and the first minute of that song came out. I'm like, oh shit, okay. Did you save that? That was really cool. But this time, so I'm writing some stuff by myself. We're trying to create space for the cellist to kind of develop some of his own work. Tim's been doing more compositional stuff at home as well. Yeah,
we're sending around MIDI files of stuff that can incorporate cello a bit more, which is sounding a bit different from what we've been doing. But there's that. I mean, we had a rehearsal the other night and played like 3 or 4 new pieces that are, like half 75% form, maybe, something like this.
My goal is to bring in some more death metal riffs. I think we're doing all right on that front, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, there's that big kind of like Meshuggah sounding thing too. There's heaps of fun stuff coming up.
It's cool. Yeah, just trying to open it up and see what comes out and what does work and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
What was there a track that was the most challenging to record? And on the other side of that, was there a track that was the most enjoyable?
Okay, I'm trying.
This is a tough one.
It is a tricky one.
Look, in terms of enjoyable, I really like Return. Like, it's such a simple song, but I think I connect with it a lot, and I just enjoy it kind of unfolding a little bit. So that one's pretty special.
I think it was challenging for a different reason. Ambit, what's its name on the?
It's Ambit.
These all had different names as well until the record came out. So Ambit. Anyway, we used to call it Ambit. That track, Ambit 2. Yeah, that one. The singer on that, Jessica Kenny, lives in the States, so recording that was a bit of a challenge. Finding a time for her to do that, and I think right when we thought, this is not going to work, it's just not happening. I think she sent me a message. She was in New York recording with Randall Dunn, doing something else in Aleph Studios there. Aleph Studios. I was like, this is too perfect. Let's do this. And she said, I can do it tomorrow morning. And then so finally it happened, but it took a while to get there. I think, we were kind of like waiting for 6 months or something to see if she was actually going to contribute. And she did. So that was sort of a challenge. For the recording in the studio, I feel like it was all fairly similar, right? I mean, none of them were particularly tricky, except for maybe some problems with my DAF.
He's blanked it out. Right. He's blanked it all out.
Was it tricky? Was it?
There was just heaps of like cutting parts together, and there was a lot of production in this thing.
Oh, that's true.
So these really long loops and stuff, and we'd play stuff and look at different takes. Okay, does the cello fit in there? Like, so I think there's a lot of that assembly, which is quite different. I feel like it was more than any other record I've done, like less of like just the pure live thing. That had to be some other layering and recording, because we are just 3 people essentially.
I think, mixing was probably more difficult than recording, like sorting all the editing and mixing,
getting the sound, like, because it's like what do you use as a reference for the sound, like just trying to work out how that works.
I'd totally do that again differently. I mean, I'd never really played my instrument on any of this type of stuff really before, so even figuring out how to record it, that I ended up re-recording DAF parts, didn't I?
It's got like 100 layers of DAF on it now.
See, I've tried to fit in all this.
You just kept layering.
Is this where you blacked it out?
It must have been. Yeah, it's really meditative. That's the other thing. It's fun.
Are there any tracks that you're really looking forward to performing live?
New ones. From the album, I mean, Procession is my favorite. It's so much fun.
And I love playing Descent. Like, it's such a simple thing, but it's just like, if it sounded good on stage, we have a big sound at the front, it's just, I don't know, I like it. I like playing that. It has a bit of attitude to it. It's pretty ridiculous song, pretty filthy. It's fun.
That is fun too,
As a punter, that is definitely a fun one to just get lost in.
Yeah.
You can feel yourself just disconnecting completely and being in it, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, again, this is before you had an album out to reference. Do you play that one a little bit earlier on in the set? Because I feel like there's a moment clicked. It might have been that.
Yeah, I think so. For the last, I don't know, maybe 5 shows, it's been fairly fixed. And we just went with the album order. It just seems to flow.
Minus the improv piece, and sometimes minus the first part of Ambit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason it just flows nicely. So we're kind of stuck with that. So usually, Descent's first, Procession, or that'd be third. Yeah, the album order. Yeah.
So your sound, we've spoken about it in a few different ways. It's kind of, combination of your influences. Are there any influences that you can name, maybe not that fit in the same genre or style, but what are your influences?
I mean, a really big one for me, that might be obvious, is Neurosis. Like, I've loved that band for so many years, decades at this point, and it's always been a really big inspiration for my playing. I guess more of the Eastern classical stuff has been an inspiration as I'm kind of getting older and wanting to keep developing in different styles. Like, I love how Indian classical music, there's so much room for improvisation. There's so much room for expression. Maybe we haven't quite gone there with this record, but people like Nikhil Banerjee really inspire me. And then just people around me, like I said, Convulsing earlier, Convulsing or, Ulcerate or these bands, it's almost like this arms race of who can produce something different and innovative and challenging but still be accessible and listenable. So every time, someone from the local scene puts out a record, it's like, yeah, cool. Okay. How can we respond to this? Or how can we bring it in a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, for my part, there are no real direct influences, just because no one else uses that drum in that way. But Pig Destroyer and maybe Mastodon or some bands like that. Yeah, I think I often kind of use some of the rhythmic ideas a little bit. Maybe not so much Pig Destroyer.
So good.
But just for the energy. Mainly. I'm thinking more about I suppose experimental stuff in Australia. Stuff I kind of grew up listening to, like Peeled Hearts Paste and Lucas Abela, and experimental. That whole experimental scene would be one influence.
What about in terms of duff players? Is there, even if you're thinking more broadly outside of Black Aleph?
I should have an answer to that, but I'm not. See, even when you used to play the Iranian stuff primarily, I wasn't really a duff player. I played strings, so I've never really kind of thought about duff influences as such. I played in bands where the duff players were really good, so that has probably I probably absorbed that. But otherwise, probably Secret Chiefs 3 and stuff like that was more of an immediate influence, because it was kind of through Trey and that whole scene that I got into a lot of that music anyway, the kind of Iranian stuff. So many other influences. Was it I don't
like Earth and all this droney meditative stuff I connect pretty deeply with.
Yeah,
but it's hard at this point, having been in bands for 20 years, it's getting hard to work out where bits come from. There's been so many inspirations over the years. It all just gets put in a blender at some point.
Stravinsky, I'd say Stravinsky. So
that's very pretentious.
No, it sounds pretentious. But for an actual reason though, just this kind of sort of having a very constant meter with some polyrhythmic stuff happening.
Sorry, that wasn't just
fair. It's totally fair. It's absolutely fair.
We're not cutting a comment out.
What a broad range of influence.
Yeah.
We don't spend a lot of time in the metal scene. We've seen Iranian classical thing together this year, Indian classical. We saw the Necks. The Necks are fucking unreal. I don't know if you guys know the Necks, but God damn.
The Neck, is that NECKS?
Yeah, that's right. They're like a jazz trio, and they are purely improvisational, and someone will just start playing something really simple, and it'll be how the space resonates or something about that, and they just build all these musical cells slowly, and it's fucking magical. There's no band like it.
The Ballroom, that's another venue we didn't mention earlier. We saw them.
Ballroom, that's cool.
Yeah, we saw them play there. When was that? 6 months ago or something? That was really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to speak about your instrument, DAF. How did you get into that? Is that something you've been playing?
Yeah, the DAF was probably the first Iranian instrument that I picked up, I guess. So that was the early 2000s or maybe mid 2000s, maybe something like that. I was before that playing more kind of, I don't know, experimental and jazz type stuff and things for theatre and all that kind of stuff. But then really got into Iranian music for a complex bunch of reasons, and then was attending these kind of, what do you want to call it, like poetry meditation type nights in Brisbane, and very often there's kind of live music performance, so they had a bunch of DAFs and they're always looking for people to play DAFs at these things. So I was the kind of multi-instrumentalist. They just handed me this DAF and I started learning it. So it was, that was ages ago, but then I got into Iranian music more generally and Middle Eastern music. I was playing all of that. DAF was always kind of this really accessible instrument that was, because you can kind of play it with anything. It doesn't matter whether it's Persian music, other music that's similar, or prog, whatever the fuck this is. Just kind of, it's a very versatile instrument. So it's always stuck around, and it's a very, it's just an instrument you can connect to. I really connect to it. So it's been like 15 or 20 years or something. This thing has just been there while I play other instruments, but it's becoming the number one instrument again, which is nice.
Cool.
It's like gone full circle.
Yeah, nice. People are definitely resonating with it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, because it's like, I don't think about it that much, but it's such a simple instrument, but you can do so much with it.
Yeah, we have finally begun that more acoustic Eastern band that I thought we were originally. So that's kind of coming up in the future.
Yeah, though I'm playing like other frame drums.
Not the DAF, okay.
Yeah, but the DAF is cool too, because it's very loud. It's easy to kind of get volume out of it, considering how small it is. It makes a lot of noise, and then after adding pedals as well, it's a lot of fun. It's just fun to play on stage too. It's kind of acrobatic.
Yeah, it's a fascinating instrument to watch.
It looks cool. Yeah.
And you're kind of hypnotized when you see it, because you're like, ooh, what's about to happen? Especially when you've never seen one played live before, and then you get thrown into it. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's like, a whole drum kit in one case. It's great fun. It's really easy, as opposed to
makes me so sad. 15-inch cab, a combo, my guitar. It's just so much stuff to lug.
I'm a drummer that is happy to carry.
He always carries the heaviest stuff all the time.
Nice. It's my weekly exercise. It's great fun playing the DAF though.
Excellent.
Doesn't take up much space on stage.
Yeah, it's different to like the metal percussion side of things, isn't it? The guy lugging the drum kit. He's the last guy off the stage. Like,
he's been working on how to do a blast beat. Working.
We
did the double kick thing. We got that going.
Yeah.
So we're working it out.
Yeah, the thrash thing.
Next album,
Pig Destroyer.
Yeah,
it's going to be
make an appearance
with a DAF. Yeah, Pig Destroyer inspired.
Yeah.
Great, can't wait.
So good.
It's what the world needs.
More.
I love Terrifier.
It's the best album.
Terrifier cover album.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
Well, covers actually. That's the next. We're going to start doing a few covers.
And try.
Should we talk about?
Really? Is this an exclusive?
No, as in we haven't spoken to. And I've spoken to Peter about it. Like some of the covers we want to do. But they're not maybe covers you'd expect. So
except for Earth.
Earth is a bit. Yeah, we should bring back covers. Seems bands have kind of stopped doing covers. Feels to me. Have they? I don't know.
I'd say bring back covers.
Yeah. Especially if they're covers that you wouldn't expect. Yeah, there's like a Tears for Fears thing I want to do.
Nice.
Surprisingly, it does work.
Yeah, it was working.
I think it does work. Yeah.
I hope we can expect something like that.
Yeah.
Tears
for Fears, Pig Destroyer.
Yeah,
covers.
Yes.
I'm into it. I'm there. Let me know when. I'll be there.
Some Burt Bacharach, something. I don't know.
The options are endless.
Yeah. Scott Walker, actually. I was thinking about that. If there's a way to do that, that might be good. Yeah. How'd we get onto covers?
That's a good question.
Tangents.
So
tell me about your label, Art As Catharsis.
To be honest, I started the label for similar reasons you guys started Hook, Riff and Bang. Like I just looked around. I remember being like going to shows at 18 and 19 and I was obsessed with music. I was obviously listening to a lot of overseas stuff. I was writing reviews. I started going to local gigs and some of the best bands I've ever seen in my life. So creative, so different to what I was hearing elsewhere. And there'd be like 20 people at the show and I'd be like, what's what's going on? And you go to a festival and there are tens of thousands of people. It's like, I don't understand. Like, clearly people are just not aware of these bands. And so I just started using the skills I have to try and share music I liked. And, you know, that label has put out like 185 records in the last 13 years. So
Wow.
I'm busy.
Wow.
Too busy.
I didn't know that.
That's
I'm a
huge.
busy man. But yeah, like we have we've got an album from Ghost Smoker coming out, which I'm really excited about. Turtle Skull are getting back into it.
Oh, I should have mentioned Turtle Skull earlier, of course.
Turtle Skull rule.
I'll see it.
I love
cool.
those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, right. Yeah, their new album
Such a good
is
show,
quite
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Cool.
So yeah, it's just something that I'm really passionate about. You know, trying to help out bands and see if I can help boost them a little bit. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Speaking of album releases, so you've just released your album, Apsides, and you're about to hit the road on tour on November 14th in Sydney?
Tuesday or
Is that
Wednesday
right?
or something?
Yeah, November 14th, the Vanguard, 17th at the Bearded Lady in Brisbane, and 28th at Northcote Social Club.
We'll certainly be there.
Yeah.
Thanks a
I
lot,
can
yeah.
speak for myself. Will you be there?
For the purpose of this episode, yes.
Locking it in.
It is
Cut
a
that
weeknight,
out.
isn't it? It's a Thursday, right? So yeah. School night, is that a problem? It'll be good. It's going to be a fun gig.
Yeah.
Great.
Some of our favourite bands are playing this.
Who are you playing with?
Yeah.
No, we've got a Skin Thief opening who are really fucking
yes.
cool, like post-rock, post-metal band. Ghost Smoker to bring the filth and doom, and Treebeard for a bit more like, proggy, textual kind of vibe. So, you know, it's I guess it's one of those cross bills you're talking about, like just so many inspiring bands in the Melbourne scene. So yeah, be looking forward to it.
Amazing. So well done. Congratulations on everything. Thanks for coming. It's been really cool to talk to you guys. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for
very
having
keen
us.
very keen for whatever happens in the future. Really excited.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we love what you're doing, and
Yeah,
we really
so-
appreciate you taking the time. So
Very
cheers.
much.
Yes.
Thanks for chatting to
Cheers.
us. Looking forward to those Pig Destroyer covers.
Yeah, man.
I think we have to do one.
But you have to now.
After that, yeah.
It's been
has to be
recorded.
camera, like
it's on camera.
Keep the RSI at bay, it'll be good.
Work on this blast piece.
yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks,
Sweet.
guys.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers. You've been listening to episode 7 of Hooker Riff and Banger. We're going to jump into this month's gig guide, starting with on Friday the 15th of November at Max Watts. I've got King Parrot, Weed Eater, and Astro Death, and Chuff ticks through Oztix.
On Saturday, the 16th of November, we have Harakiri for the Sky Australian tour, and that's at the Corner Hotel. Supports from
Oh,
Austere, Soldusk, and Munitions, and tickets are through Oztix.
that's a good go. On the 22nd of November, we've got Fungus Brain Festival in Ballarat. So we've got Mushroom Giant, Khan, Treebeard. Hey, we know those guys. Heinous Crimes, and oh man, Sins Milan. Sorry, Sins Milan at the Volta. Tickets are just $20 through Oztix.
On Saturday, the 23rd of November, the first of very many gigs, we have Khan, Where There's a Will, There's a Way tour. That's at the Bergie Band Room, supported by the Black Heart Death Cult, Heinous Crimes, and Foot. And you can get your tickets through Oztix.
Contender for that is at the Tote. It's Poison, Ruin, Body Maintenance, Vampire, Phantasm, and Armor. So tickets through Oztix on that one. So pick your poison.
I'll be at that one. That's going to be so good. Friday, the 29th of November, Eye of the Enemy, celebrating 10 years of the Vengeance Paradox. That's at the Evelyn. Great venue. Meridian Hoof and Incendiment. Tickets are through Oztix.
We're getting close to needing to do that. Pronounce the band name, Gayam, aren't we? On the 29th of November, I've got Tumor and Burn in Hell split EP launch at the Bendy. Gravitate, Aglo, Circle of Blood seem to be opening, and the tickets are through Oztix.
On Friday, the 29th of November, another gig. At the Last Chance, we've got Dark Horse from Sydney, Black Jesus, Meth Leopard from South Australia, Religious Observance, and Grave Peeler. And I'm DJing until 3 a.m. Tickets are through Oztix.
On Saturday, 30th of November, Nebutolic single launch at Singing Bird Studios in Franga. We've got Gostica, Gulge, Rare Olives. What a name. Nebulum, Tickets through Eventbrite. Oh my God.
Rare. The rarest of olives.
The rare olives.
On Saturday, the 30th of November at the Bendy, we've got Uncle Geezer, fuck's sake, from Northern Territory, Meth Leopard from South Australia, Tongue Scum, Nephilim, and Who Bastard. Tickets are through Oztix.
On Saturday, the 7th of December, we have the Alarm Recontinue album launch at the Leadbeater, Vexation, Resistance, and Maleficum. Tickets through Oztix. Thank you very much.
There's your gig guide. Buy some tickets, buy some merch,
Go to the
see some
show.
music.
See us there.